What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for PlayPicks.com, thelines.com. I'm going to talk to you about Sunday night football between the Eagles and the Falcons. Before we get going here, guys, please subscribe to this channel, like this video. Let us know in the comments who you're playing. Maybe you're going to take a pass. Maybe you're just playing the total in this one, but join the conversation. Let us know. We're always interested to see how people are going about these standalone games. And guys, look, this is a weird one, right? I mean, we are seeing two teams that are coming off of meh performances at best on the Eagles side and a downright trucking on the Falcons side here. So something we are certainly going to want to see how these teams play out here. I mean, these are a couple of teams that some people were high on. I was certainly high on the Eagles, and I think I was a little bit even higher on the Falcons than some people were as well. You head to playpicks.com. You can see the full write-up right here, so be sure and do that. You can head over to thelines.com and take a under this tab right here at NFL, you can hit Sunday Night Football, and you can see right here, we've got a cool little odds breakdown here, and you can flip between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. You can see how these odds are playing out. So be sure and do that as well. And be sure and head to playpicks.com/bonus. And when you go to playpicks.com/bonus, you're going to get some of the very best offers there are on the internet. Guys, don't worry about the weather in this one. Obviously, it's a dome down in Atlanta, so we're not worried about any sort of weather situation here. If we take a look at the lines on this one, over at DraftKings, you can see Falcons 1.5 point dogs at home. Over at DraftKings, over at FanDuel, Falcons 2 point home dogs in this one. You can see that there's some different ways to bet over at FanDuel now. They're doing same game parlays and give you a ton of different options to do things. And of course, we always have the game props and player props and things like that. But going off right now, +2, +102 on the money line there, 52.5 over at DraftKings, 1.5, 52.5 coming back, +106 if you want to look at those guys there. Click over here if you want to read along as we're going here. Let's take a look at this Eagles. Look, had to claw back against the Redskins. Obviously, Redskins jumped out on them early. One thing to keep in mind here, Carson Wentz did not play in the preseason, so there was some rust factor that was going on there. He was able to work through that, and before halftime, got it going a little bit better. You could tell Carson Wentz was settling in, completed 19 of his final 27 passes for 265 yards in that game. The Falcons, of course, coming off getting mauled up in Minnesota by the Vikings. Vikings only had to throw the ball 10 times. Kirk Cousins only went 8 of 10 in that game, was able to get it done on the ground. Falcons team just did not look right, really, the entire time. As far as injuries go, Eagles pretty healthy. Nothing really to worry about here on the Falcons side. Starting guard Chris Lindstrom is going to be out, so missing a guard for the Falcons in this one. I'll click over to the lines in case you want to read what's going on over there. Keep this the line numbers up. Oh, put the spread. And on the offensive side of the ball here, guys, Eagles, we know what they want to do, right? I mean, they are trying to become a little bit more balanced. They brought in Miles Sanders, of course, as a guy that to run the ball. Jordan Howard is in town as well. Another guy that they're trying to do this with some balance. And then, of course, you have Darren Sproles, who's always been in town. So Darren Sproles, a three-headed monster kind of going on there for the Eagles. And then they bring back Deshaun Jackson, and he is back now in Philadelphia. Of course, had a big week last week. Still that downfield threat, and still has the speed, and actually put that on display last week. On the Falcons side of the ball, Devontae Freeman and Ito Smith actually split carries last week, which was pretty interesting. I thought for sure that this would just be Devontae Freeman's backfield to go. But again, they got down early in that game, so Ito Smith might have gotten some additional run, strictly just for the fact that they got down so early in that game. On the defensive side of the ball, what we're kind of looking at here, and I'll scroll a little bit in case you want to kind of continue to read along. We're looking at Redskins on this Eagles team. This Eagles team let the Redskins drop 380 passing yards on them. Secondary for the Eagles, still a big concern and something we are worried about for this team. Fourth worst pass defense DVOA in week one. Again, small sample size, but it's more the same that we saw last year from this Eagles team. Now, they might use Ronald Darby to shadow Julio Jones. I don't know if that is the best decision, but that was at least something that had been thrown around that they might try and do in this game. Vikings on the Falcons side of the ball defensively, the Vikings ran 32 times against this Falcons team last week for 168 yards, just got pounded on the ground. And again, we've seen that kind of time and time again with this Falcons team as well. It looks like neither one of these teams has kind of changed their stripes at all when it comes to this. We'll scroll a little bit more, guys. Let's talk about like the case for the over in this one. You see it sitting at 52.5, and full disclosure, I lean towards the over here, especially if this thing happens to fall at all. I was able to get it a little bit smaller than this, but let's really look at what we have here, right? What we have is two high-powered offenses, especially on the Atlanta side, coming home in a get-right situation after getting mauled up in Minnesota. And then you have two secondaries that are incredibly, incredibly vulnerable, and two teams that can put points on the board here. So as far as the over goes, I expect Atlanta's offense to play much, much better than it did last week. And if the Eagles just kind of play like they did last week, if they kind of do what they did on offense last week, and then of course on the defensive side of the ball, they're going to give it up as well. That is really and truly kind of the case for the over in this one. It's hard for me to make a case for the under. I like in these videos to kind of give a case for both sides. I guess for the case for the under in this one would be that maybe this isn't a get right spot for the Falcons, and maybe they're just way, way worse than we thought. I mean, it seems almost impossible for them to be way worse with Matt Ryan having a track record, especially at home, being much, much better at home in his dome, and with Julio Jones, with Calvin Ridley, Devonta Freeman, Austin Hooper even at tight end is a pretty decent little playmaker. Mohamed Sanu, Justin Hardy. I mean, there's just lots of weapons there for Matt. So again, maybe they're worse than we thought. Maybe that could be the situation. I don't know how it could be. I would either play the over or a pass here on the total. Certainly nothing that I'm going to be looking at as far as playing under on this one. As far as the side goes, full disclosure, I took this at 2 in part of closing out a teaser. I moved the Falcons to 8 and got through the key number of 3, 6, 7 there, get it all the way up to 8. And that is how I'm playing this game. It is actually on the close of a 6-point teaser for me. If you wanted to play this game straight up, I still do lean towards the Falcons. I think the Falcons are again, going to play much, much better at home. We have ridiculous splits. One of these things, I don't like to look at some of these things whenever they come out, but really and truly ridiculous splits for Matt Ryan at home and on the road. Just plays much, much better at home. I think that they are able to kind of get right in this situation and win this game. Of course, you're probably basically just playing for an outright here whenever you're looking at a 2-point spread anyway. So for me, I feel a little bit more comfortable. I love the 2s and 2.5s. Anyone that's watched these video series understand how I kind of play these 2 and 2.5 point dogs, especially home dogs, is always getting that thing through the 3 and the 6 and the 7 up to 8, 8.5 as part of a teaser. That's not going to change for me in this one at all. Like I said, I already played Falcons plus 8 in this thing. If you wanted to play a single game teaser, don't hate moving Falcons up to 8 and then teasing this total down and playing the over of 46.5 in this one. So guys, feel like this is a get right spot here for this Falcons team. Still a very bad secondary for this Eagles squad. Going to give it up. I mean, if they're giving up 380 yards to the Redskins, how many yards can Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley put up against this team as well? And I certainly don't expect the Falcons defense to shut down the Eagles either. I think pretty good little shootout type fun game here for Sunday Night Football. Going Falcons as part of a teaser as well as the over.